Hey, you guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live. It is 7:30 p.m. We're coming to you live from Shanghai, China, which is currently under a strict lockdown. Alex, are you there?
I'm here. Hear me?
Nice. Yeah. How's your day been today? We had another citywide test today.
Yeah, we did. I had to go do another PCR test. Other than that, well, actually, that was fine too. That wasn't painful or anything. Working on some stories for Shanghai Daily. Doing a story, finishing up a story about the pet groups, the social media pet groups that have been created to help people out. And then the young lady that we interviewed a couple of days ago named Joey. So we're doing a bit about that. And so I finished that up, just getting some work done. How about you?
Yeah, getting there. I did see one of your stories today on Shanghai Daily, shine.cn, about the pet group, how you interviewed one of the organizers. That was really interesting and really helpful, especially since at the moment, a lot of people who are pet owners here in Shanghai are feeling the pressure. So I just want to quickly run down what Alex and I are going to chat about today. We're going to update you on the latest news here in Shanghai. So first up, we'll talk about the makeshift hospitals and children studying there. Then we'll talk about food supplies and maternity products. Now, there's been a lot of issues in Shanghai with the logistics involved with delivering food and daily necessities. So we're going to talk with our reporter Yang Jian about that. Then Alex is going to talk to us about health codes turning yellow. Now, with all the citywide COVID testing going on here in Shanghai, if you miss a single test, your code will turn yellow. Alex is going to explain that. And then last up, we do have the tragic story of the corgi that was beaten to death in Pudong yesterday. Really terrible news. But first up, as I said, we will take a look at the situation with the makeshift hospitals in terms of children. And we do have a video to look at first, Alex. Then when we come back, we'll have a chat. So let's check that out.
Sounds good.
，Nice music there. So that was a little video detailing the situation for children who are able to continue their studies in these central quarantine facilities. Alex, what do you reckon?
Yeah, so as we talked about a couple of days ago, the policy has changed, and now COVID positive children are allowed to be accompanied by their parents to quarantine facilities, regardless of whether or not the parent is positive or negative. And so that's good. So it's good to see the kids able to get their studies done. Obviously, we know that remote learning is difficult. You know, it's hard to keep students' rapt attention when they're in their own bedrooms or in their own living rooms, surrounded by all the things at home they're familiar with. And so obviously, I can imagine that it's even tougher for kids who are in this sort of situation. So it's good to see that we've got people helping them out with that, and their parents can accompany them to do that as well.
Exactly, really good move from the Shanghai government to deal with that issue quickly. There was obviously an uproar about children being separated from their parents who needed to go into quarantine if their parents were not positive as well. So now that has been remedied. And yeah, it's good to see they can study in there, although I can imagine if it was me and I was a child, I probably wouldn't want to study, but you never know. It could be a bit boring, I guess, in quarantine. But we saw the video we just saw was from the new location at the Shanghai New International Expo Center, which in this story that's on shine.cn, you can see now there's nearly 1,000 beds there and the area is completely full. So it looks like there's, with the increasing COVID numbers, a lot of families going into lockdown. So I'll just quickly tell you guys the numbers for today. We did see another increase today based on the citywide testing yesterday. But the increase, I think, isn't too steep. We had 322 new symptomatic cases and 19,660 new asymptomatic cases. You can see the details here. Obviously, Shanghai is currently the hardest hit area in all of mainland China. Alex, what do you think about the numbers? We've talked about the lag of COVID before. Do you think that we'll start to see that soon?
Well, we hope to see that soon. Obviously, it's disappointing to see the numbers continue to rise, but then we also have to sort of understand that is to be expected. As you mentioned, there's a lag of a few days. Also, as we said before, there are more people citywide testing, which of course is going to turn up more positive cases that maybe weren't detected when only certain parts of the city were being tested. And so, once the entire city is tested a few times, you're going to see a small rise in the numbers, but we hope to see them go back down in the near future.
Exactly. I think it's clear to see, though, that we are still not in the clear, still in quite a dangerous situation here in Shanghai. So that is why we need to continue this lockdown, however uncomfortable it may be, and hopefully we'll start to see those numbers falling. Now, we talked yesterday about the two different types of COVID testing that may be done in your area, depending on the situation. So if you underwent a PCR test, a nucleic acid test today, which is the throat swab, that means that there has been reported cases, positive cases in your area. If you were able to do a home antigen test, that means there haven't been cases in your area recently. So it's an interesting way to see the situation in your area based on which test you did. What about you, Alex? Did you do a test today, and what was it?
I had to do the PCR test today, which does indicate that there was a case in my neighborhood, and so it seems like the rumors may have been true. We all went downstairs and made sure not to get in the same elevator as a lot of other people. Actually, I live on the 20th floor, and so we went up and down the 20 flights of stairs to avoid being in the elevator with anyone else. And good exercise anyway. But made sure to keep 2 meters distance from everybody else. Got in, got out, and hopefully we're still negative.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to, obviously 20 floors is quite a lot for people who are not so mobile, but if you can, do take the stairs. Luckily, I live on the 6th floor, so it's not too much of a hassle. But yeah, do keep distance from people at the moment. One of the only times you're going to come into contact with people is when you're going out for a COVID test. So do make sure to wear an N95 mask if you have one. Keep the social distance. I reckon 2 meters is safe. And also be sure to sanitize and wash your hands when you get back home.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Make sure to sanitize your hands. If you can, replace the mask. Obviously, if you're wearing an N95 mask, those are a bit in shorter supply. But if you're wearing a regular mask and you have plenty of backups, I think it would be wise to discard that mask once you're finished with that, just in case. And make sure to wash your hands, sanitize, and just make sure to stay as safe as we possibly can and as clean and virus-free as we can.
Right, good advice. Now we'll move along to the next story. Now this is a big one from this morning's Shanghai government media conference. Some lockdown restrictions have been lifted, as we see here, on some markets and warehouses supplying life supplies. Now, if you're in Shanghai, you'll know that it is quite difficult to get orders online, not just to procure those orders, but to have them delivered. So there's evidently a logistics issue. But we have our reporter Yang Jian on the line now. Oh no, he's disappeared. Yang Jian, if you're watching, please call in again. And he is going to talk to us briefly about the situation. But it looks here to be that a white list of local wholesale markets and delivery centres, e-commerce warehouses, and central kitchens that strictly implement COVID-19 prevention measures will open. So I think what that means is that more people will be listed as key personnel who will be able to leave home, go out of the quarantines in order to work in those centres and get food delivered. In Yang Jian's article here, he talks about the fact that it is the last kilometre and the last 100 metres of these deliveries that is posing a problem. I think it's important to remember there is enough food. The problem at the moment is logistics, having it delivered. Alex, you were talking yesterday about grabbing some food online. How did you manage to do that?
So I actually, I did the whole Changcai thing that the rap song was about. So there are different apps, some of the bigger ones, Ding Dong Mai Cai, Mei Ri Xian, what are the other, Meituan Mai Cai. These are some of the bigger food apps that normally are some, as well as Fresh Hippo, which are some of the biggest food suppliers in terms of sending groceries to people's houses during normal times. Now, of course, they're ratcheted up in terms of their intensity and the volume that they're doing during this time. So what you've got to do is you've got to find the time. I know that for Ding Dong, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I was able to, at 6 a.m. And so what you have to do is get up, at least 15 minutes before that, fill up your cart. And then once 6 a.m. hits, you have to mash the button again and again and again and hope that you can get some of the things that you want. It's a bit of a crapshoot, a bit of a lottery there. But we were able to get a few things luckily, and so those were delivered to our door. Now in our complex, it's a 足不出户 situation, which means no eat out the door. So except for COVID testing, and so the volunteers thankfully, we're able to bring that up to our door today during the specified time, and we're able to put that in the fridge, in the freezer, and keep it for consumption.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, we have Yang Jian back again. He had a bit of technical difficulty, so here he is. Now he is going to talk to us firstly about the situation with these food and supply delivery logistics. Yang Jian, can you fill us in?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Alex. Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. And the key topic of today's press conference is about the life supply guarantee for the Shanghai citizens during the lockdown. So the vice mayor in charge took part in the press conference for the first time. And there are several key points from his announcement. And firstly, he announced that more local markets, delivery centers, and warehouses of e-commerce platforms will be able to operate despite the lockdown. So, of course, must be under strict prevention measures. Means the online grocery shopping might be easier for us citizens. So that's a good news. And I know many citizens have been complaining, and many of our readers are also complaining that it is too difficult for them to do the online food shopping. And the vice mayor also explained the reason for that. And he said that a key reason is the so-called last kilometer delivery capacity has been largely reduced due to the lockdown. And most supermarkets and wet markets cannot operate normally. So, Shanghai always has the sufficient food storage. The vice mayor also mentioned today. And he also said that additional vegetables and pork can be transported to Shanghai immediately if there is a need. So the problem is that there is the capacity, delivery capacity has been reduced. So with the new announcement today, the wholesale markets and e-commerce warehouses will be able to purchase food from these vegetable bases in the city's outskirts, and they can bring them to the downtown distributing centers and warehouses. So their delivery staff will be able to pick up the suppliers and pick up the supplies and send them to the residents' homes. And I think that's the first good news from the vice mayor on the press briefing. And second, he mentioned that the delivery staff in the locked down communities will be allowed to return to their workplaces. And I think I remember the government announced that before, that all the delivery staff will be excluded from the lockdown. But I think with the new announcement today, there will be more delivery personnel to be able to come out from their locked communities and deliver food and other life supplies for the residents. Because the vice mayor said, as long as they have no connection with the positive cases, that means if they are not infected and if they are not the close contacts, they can return to their workplace and start working. And that's the second point from the vice mayor. And thirdly, I think there is a very positive point from his remarks, because he said that more stores will be allowed to operate at lockdown or controlled areas, despite there is currently no customer. And he also mentioned that some stores will be able to open and receive customers at the precautionary areas with a limit of capacity. And there is actually no precautionary areas in the city. This area means there should be no positive case in the whole sub-districts or towns. And since the vice mayor made such remark, that means some local communities might be able to get the lockdown lifted, and the citizens will be able to go out to their communities and shop at these stores.
Well, it's
And
good to
I
hear.
think that's the main, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear, and it's good to know that that's happening. Hopefully, we'll be able to see a little bit more ease in terms of being able to get food. I know it has been difficult for a lot of people. Like I said, I would just mention that I got lucky in getting some food from Ding Dong, but I know it's been really hard. So let's hope. I wanted to ask you one question though. There's a specific issue that's come up is maternal products, things like baby formula, diapers, and other things. I know there's been a bit of an emphasis on that in recent days. Can you tell us about people who are low on things like baby formula and other maternal products? How can they ensure that they can get what they need?
Oh, yeah. You know, everything related to children is always the most concerned topics, especially during the ongoing lockdown. And I think the government has always been listening to the suggestions and the complaints of the citizens on the internet and try to solve these issues. Of course, while ensuring safety during the pandemic. And you know, yesterday the Health Commission just announced that with an application and with a letter of commitment, uh, parents tested negative can also accompany their infected children during the central quarantine. And they will be accommodated at a specialized room for the children and the family patients. And today they announced another good news for local parents because they address the issue of the difficulty to buy baby formula and of course including diapers and other maternal products. And the vice mayor said there are currently several ways to buy these products during the lockdown. And the first is through the mobile app of supermarkets such as the Metro and the Carrefour and the Chinese brand Lianhua. And secondly, parents can ask for help on the emergency channel on the food delivery and the e-commerce platforms like Meituan and Ele.me, because these companies have the delivery staff who can help to purchase and deliver the baby formula diapers for local parents. And thirdly, um, they can also dial the city's service hotline 12345 to ask for help. And we know that it's quite difficult to call this hotline because of the huge amount of costs. But the vice mayor promised on today's press briefing that he said we will respect every call from the citizen. So he also gave us some several number and an example. He said over 3,000 cans of baby formula have been sold in 10 days, which means the delivery channel and all these measures have been operating smoothly. And many parents have been able to buy the maternal products and like the milk powder and diapers through these ways. And he also said an example that residents asked for help to buy a special baby formula. And a local company responded immediately and delivered 2 cans of such milk powder to the parents on the next day. And apart from that, the company also purchased another 600 cans in case anyone else need these formulas from neighboring Zhejiang province. I remember. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the update, Yang Jian from Shanghai Daily. We'll catch up with you again next time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, very interesting update there. So he was just laying out changes that have been made or will be made to do with the logistics of supplying or delivering. He said the last kilometer is the biggest problem with delivering food and supplies, including baby products. Those have been given priority by Shanghai's government. What else did you get from that, Alex?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the main point for me. It was the maternal products. That's extremely important that everyone has access to those products. Obviously, these are things that people need, can't do without. And then beyond that, just the opening of more supermarkets in different areas around the city, I think is important. It's going to help. Obviously, we know that there are enough resources. The issue is the logistics, as you mentioned, and as he mentioned as well. And I think once more people are available, more product is available to send out, then we can sort of help alleviate these concerns. I'm hopeful that getting a hold of food will not be so much dependent on whether or not you hit the fast click lottery at 6 a.m. or at 8 a.m. or depending on whatever time the app you're using drops the food, but more stable. And so I'm hoping that becomes the case. I hope that this new policy and these opening up of these warehouses and food supply places can help alleviate these concerns.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge concern. Obviously, a city of 25.6 million, if you can't get access to daily supplies and necessities, things, will go downhill fast. So it's very important. I'm glad to see that is being worked on. Let's see in the coming days how those changes come into place. Now, I just want to quickly show you guys our infamous live view of Shanghai. This is looking towards the Bund at 7:52 p.m. Today is Thursday evening.
Yep, Thursday the 7th it is, Puxi. We are now in our 7th day of lockdown. Pudong began 4 days prior to that. And so we're still grinding it out. But yeah, this view, as you can see, is near the Bund, facing that area, which is one of the most popular tourist destinations, not only in Shanghai, but in China as a whole. And it's a bit eerie to see the streets empty as they are, with the exception of some delivery drivers, ambulances, and other essential workers in the city who have a permit to go out and do their important jobs.
Yeah, it is definitely eerie. Now, I'm just going to quickly turn to some comments we're getting on the Shanghai Ribao Shine WeChat page. Somebody has asked, when do we know when we're coming out of lockdown? Unfortunately, that is not clear yet. I think we'll be locked down until we see some significant drops in the numbers. So I think prepare for at least a few more days. But again, the Shanghai government does come out with daily press briefings where they update us on the situation. So what you can do is head along to our website, shine.cn. It's shine.cn, which is the official website of Shanghai Daily, and we'll have any news there for you. Also, you can tune into our live show here every evening.
Yeah, we'll be updating you on any policy changes, anything that's official. We can talk about that, and we will disseminate that information to you just to make sure everyone is in the know in terms of what's happening on a day-to-day basis. We know that what's happening in the city right now is changing very quickly day-to-day. Right. So we want to make sure that everyone is up to date with the current policies, with what's going to happen. So no one is afraid of, a lot of rumors are being spread around, and we just want to make sure that we're trying to clarify what's fact and what's fiction, and making sure that everyone doesn't fret too much about things that may or may not be the case, but also understands the things that they need to deal with.
Exactly. Right now, we're looking at a live feed actually through CGTN, their YouTube page. This is a live shot of a temporary hospital being set up for asymptomatic cases at Shanghai's National Exhibition and Convention Center. So that is going to be one of the largest spots for quarantine here in Shanghai. As you can see, again, live view of the preparations being made there. It's a lot of effort, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see all the people working hard to erect this facility, or not erect it, but to refurbish it and make it into a hospital or a quarantine facility for those who are infected with COVID-19. I know they're going to be, when this is ready, they're going to be somewhere around 40,000 different spots there for people. Hopefully we don't have to fill it. Hopefully we can get this quelled before we get to that point. But just in case, better safe than sorry. And the city is preparing this just in case.
Exactly. Definitely better safe than sorry. So now for a little bit of lightheartedness in our broadcast, we had an online concert the other night, which featured 17 performances from people inside Shanghai who are currently under lockdown. And we want to replay one. Alex, this guy is from Texas. I think he was one of your favorites. Do you remember?
Yeah, Radio. Yeah, he's a music promoter and a musician here in Shanghai. He actually turns out he's a friend of some of my close friends. So it's sort of coincidence. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I haven't actually met him in person before. This is my first time chatting with him, but hopefully I'll be able to see one of his shows after the lockdown ends. But yeah, this is Radio. He came on Radio, RAYDIO Radio. He came on our concert the other day and delivered a great performance.
Right, so let's enjoy that again, and when we come back, we'll fill you in on the rest of the news today here on Alex and Indy Live for Shanghai Daily. Let's talk to you soon.
I'm from Texas. I've been living in Shanghai this is my 5th year. So stay strong, Shanghai. I'm really happy to be here and happy to help others who are going through the same situation as me. This first song is called Pearls and Bones. Live in this house of cards, but I'm not loving you in my moments true, and with all my pride and words, but I'm not loving you and you're into when I think of who I am, a little boy becomes a man, yeah, and I know I've got work to do, 'cause pearls and bones are all that's left of you. Of you and me. Take out the lies of words that I've cried out to you in my moments true, and reaching and finding mine too. Tender moments lose when I'm dead and through. So hear my voice, now I'm alive. In a time I would have died, yeah, and I know I've got work to do, 'cause pearls and bones are all that's left of you. Of you and me. Take up the lies of words that I cried out to you in my moments true, and reaching and find mine too. It's tender moments those when I'm dead through. So hear my voice, now I'm alive. For in a time I will have died, yeah, and I know I've got work to do. Pearls and bones are all that's left of you, 'cause pearls and bones are all that's left of you, 'cause pearls and bones are all that's left of you, 'cause pearls and bones are all that's left of you. The next song I'm going to play is a song called Plastic Bags. It's a song I just wrote. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have done wrong in my worldscape, in my lonely heart that I can't escape from. Dancing in my room and I see you all gleaming from my window. See it all, lose it to my tune, and I'll find a way. I'll be there for you very soon, and bloom so high. Plastic bag, feel the final phase and begin to fall back to my own self. Plastic bag, I go where the wind blows, I'm river bound, breathe in and out my sound. found drowned. I have done wrong for this landscape. Fish me out someday, so I'll change my shape. Leave me far from home and I'll find a way to be inside your bloodstream soon and bloom so high. I'm a plastic bag. I go where the wind blows and begin to fall to your own self. Plastic bag, and you feel my final phrase. I'm in your blood, breathe in and out. My doubts roam about with no way out. If you're interested in finding out about shows, me playing or even other artists playing, you can add my WeChat and add you to my group. I have lots of followers on the group, and you're welcome to come in.
Thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you later on.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Well, that was a highlight from our online concert we held the other evening. That was radio. Thanks, Alex. I wasn't quite sure. I was saying radio, but it's radio.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, we got the cat.
Oh, kitty.
He's enjoying the music as well. No, I really like his music. He jams. He's great. So I really am looking forward to seeing him once the lockdown ends.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, if you've just tuned in, you're watching Alex and Andy Live. We are coming to you from Shanghai, China, which is currently under the citywide lockdown. Now, just quickly, today's numbers, we had 322 new symptomatic cases of COVID-19 here in the city, plus 19,660 asymptomatic cases. So it's about 20,000 cases all up. It is a high, but I think not too much higher than yesterday. So hopefully, and I know we've been saying this for days, hopefully we're going to start seeing the numbers coming down shortly.
That's what we're looking for. Again, we talked about it, that they've implemented over the last couple of days citywide screening, where they're screening essentially everyone in the city. And so that will lead to higher numbers initially, hopefully, as the people who do test positive are sent for treatment and for monitoring and quarantine, that those numbers will begin to drop, especially now that we're getting word that some batches of people who test negative 2 times within a 48-hour period when they're in the quarantine facility who were previously positive are now allowed to return home after that. And so that's good to see, and hopefully we'll start to see the numbers coming down sooner rather than later.
Exactly, it's what we're all looking for. And you mentioned some people have already been starting to be released from central quarantine. It's good news. Also, our colleague Emma Leaning, she went into central quarantine about 2 weeks ago. She's now at home recovering. So really good to hear. And hopefully, we get past this very soon. Now, next up, we want to quickly talk about yellow health codes. Alex,
Yep.
What's that all about?
Yeah, so the deal is this. I recently, just today, actually had a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, sent me a snapshot of his health code, and he said it was yellow, and I was wondering why. And so here's the reason. After a little bit of research, what happens is if you do miss one of your neighborhood's COVID tests, of course, when they do a COVID test, be it an antigen test, the self-test, or a PCR test, if you don't respond, maybe if you overslept or if you didn't hear, and that can happen because sometimes they do it pretty early in the morning and you might not hear the news, whether they're doing it from a megaphone or a loudspeaker downstairs, whether they knock on your door and you don't hear it. It's very possible that you might not be aware that they're doing a COVID test that day. If you miss the test, your health code will automatically turn yellow. Once the results are uploaded from everyone else in your compound or your building, and they don't have a result for you, that will cause your QR health code to turn yellow. What you need to do is one of two things. You can either see if you can make up the test that day, but if that's not possible, just make sure that you're awake and aware for the next COVID test. Try to figure out, if you weren't notified, try to figure out how that can happen. Usually in my compound, they knock on your doors. But once you do your next test and it comes up negative, your health code will return to green. So don't stress out on it too much. If your health code turns yellow, it is likely because you missed a COVID test. But make sure to try and be as aware as you can about what's going on in your community so that you don't miss more.
Right. It is very important that we all take the test, obviously. And so, as Alex said, maybe you'll miss the notification, depending on where you live. If you're living in a really huge building, maybe the volunteers won't have time to come and knock on your door personally and remind you. So you do really need to keep an eye out for those updates. Sometimes they'll tell you in WeChat. Other times, there's other ways of letting you know. But do be ready for that. In my compound, we have quite a small community, so if I miss the test, I'm going to get a big bang on the door by the volunteer from downstairs. So yeah, it really depends on where you live. Hey, Alex, you had, speaking of shouts, you had a video you wanted to share. I think, was it filmed in your district?
It is not, but I was, of course, I have here my Shenhua scarf here. Shanghai Shenhua, for those who don't know, is one of the and probably the most beloved professional football or soccer professional team here in Shanghai. So a lot of big Shenhua fans, including myself. It's been it's been since the end of 2019 since we were able to actually go and watch matches in person in the stadium. But that has not drained away any of the fighting spirit of our blue team and our fans, our Shanghai Shenhua fans here in Shanghai. And there's a video here of some people talking about it, singing one of our team chants that we sing at the stadium at Hongkou Football Stadium. And so let's give it a watch. And it made me smile, and I'm sure it brought a smile to the faces of all the Shenhua fans around Shanghai and around the world.
Right, I'll chuck it on now, and then we'll talk about it. Wow.
I will say that it's possible. It's very possible that this was dubbed over, right?
Dubbed over,
yeah, it seems possible. I'm not sure if you could get quite that raucous of a reaction as quick as that happened. Maybe. I mean, I know there are a lot of huge Shenhua fans here in Shanghai, but regardless of whether it was dubbed over or not, we know that
the meaning.
The meaning is there, and so really excited to see that. Shout outs to Zhao Ge, who is the guy who sings on his megaphone and leads the chants in Hongkou Football Stadium when the crowds are there. So I was really happy to see that. Whether or not it actually is actually a video that's true or whether it's dubbed over, it's brought a smile to my face anyway. And so I wanted to share it with you guys and say Shenhua Banjun. Just sort of remember that we're still there. We're waiting for the day that we can get back into Hongkou Stadium on the terrace and shout for the boys in blue again. Yeah, no, I agree. Whether it's dubbed over or not, the feeling is there. 是挺有意义的. And also, sport is one of the things. I mean, I myself, as someone who's not really into sports, I don't quite understand it. But as a New Zealander, I do know that sport does bring people together. So in these tough times, it's things like that really bring us together. So awesome video there, Alex. But now we want to talk about something that is probably the worst news we have received in the last few days here in Shanghai. And that is the story of a dog that was beaten to death in Pudong New area yesterday. It was caught on video, which is really devastating. It was a corgi. It was the pet of someone who tested positive for COVID and had to go into quarantine. Now, Alex and I know we've had questions from viewers for, I would say, 2 weeks at Shanghai Daily. People asking what happens to our pets if we need to go into quarantine. And up until yesterday, we felt quite certain that something like this wouldn't happen here in Shanghai. And it's not to say this is representative at all of Shanghai people or Chinese people, but there was an unfortunate situation yesterday where a corgi was beaten to death by a volunteer. Now, this has caused a massive uproar online, obviously. People are understandably devastated.
So really sad news there. Alex, what did you make of this?
Yeah, I obviously felt the same way. Obviously, as a pet owner, whether I was a pet owner or not, that's irrelevant. But yeah, I felt extremely upset as well. I actually didn't even want to watch the video because I didn't want to see.
I didn't watch the video. Yeah,
it's a devastating thing, and yeah, the one thing that is encouraging is that the neighborhood committee has admitted that that's not their policy, that's not what they should be doing, and there's been a lot of condemnation about it. I know that there have been a lot of people on the internet in different groups that I'm in and other groups who have expressed their outrage and their dissatisfaction with this, and understandably so. Yeah, it's not what you want to see at all.
Right, it's really not what you want to see. And I have to say personally, apart from the first emotion I felt, which was devastation, that was definitely followed by outrage. I did notice that the Juweihui, the community there where the dog was living prior, where the owner was living, has admitted that this video was real. Normally, a lot of the time here in China, there's a lot of videos going around online and we can't verify them, but this was quickly verified. So I think, it was anger, and I feel like something needs to be done. We need to hear some official word about the policy here in Shanghai, which we're still waiting on. We're still pressing for that. So if you're a pet owner in Shanghai, this is a devastating situation. I don't think it's representative at all. In fact, I contacted my community here today and actually made them promise me that nothing would happen of this sort if I end up positive, heaven forbid. So I think this is not a widespread issue. It won't be a widespread issue, but we do need official word on this. So we're waiting for that, and we'll keep you guys updated. But what I wanted to do, you go ahead.
I just want to say one more. I think it is an exception to the rule. I mean, this is the only time we've heard about something like this happening in Shanghai to date since the pandemic began. I'm hoping that I'm very hopeful that we don't hear any more news like this, especially given the backlash that has occurred. I do want to say that not every, obviously not every volunteer will behave this way in the situation. There are a lot of really helpful volunteers who are taking it upon themselves to walk people's dogs, make sure that people's pets are doing okay, will help with the transportation of animals in different situations. And so I'm just hopeful that we don't panic too much over this. We understand that it is an exception to what's going on in most situations, but again, it is a devastating thing to see, and it's something that we really, really hope to not see again.
Exactly. And I do want to point out also that obviously Shanghai is a city, I keep saying it, of 25.6 million. It is a huge city, if not the most populous, one of the most populous in the whole world. So currently under this lockdown, a lot of the government's resources are going into looking after people first. So that may be why we're seeing no official word yet from the government on what happens with our beloved pets. But we do hope, cross our fingers, that word will come pretty soon. But I want to play a bit of a nice video that we received today of a stray dog in Shanghai. Where is it? Here we go. That was, unfortunately, it's still a sad video, but a dog was following around one of the volunteers on the street looking for something to eat. So let's watch that video first. It brought tears to my eyes, but it is a bit nice. That music, really sad situation. I don't know. I just want to remind people, because I was reluctant to share information about this corgi that was unfortunately beaten to death in Pudong, because I know that a lot of people overseas may use this as, against Chinese people. I don't think it's representative at all. In fact, obviously, and I shouldn't even have to say this, but China is a very pet-loving nation. I have a video here from a friend earlier today walking his dog in their community, so it's really cute to see that some communities, not all, are still able to take their dogs outside for a walk. So yeah, really tough situation, and I hope we don't see it again. Alex, you're on mute.
My mistake. So I just wanted to stress that again, that everyone in Shanghai knows, everyone who lives here and has lived here in the past knows this, but maybe the people who haven't been here before or who might be overseas, it's important to keep in mind that, despite whatever ideas people may have, the fact is that Shanghai is very, very much a pet-loving city. A very large percentage of people have pets of all different kinds, from dogs to cats, big dogs, small dogs, cats, all sorts of different kind of animals. There are pet stores everywhere. It's very much a pet-loving city and community, and so everyone is upset about hearing this news. But we're just hoping for the best of welfare for all pets in the city. And as Andy and I said before, whenever we get any more official news on that front, we're definitely going to give it to you as soon as possible.
Exactly, and Alex and I, both being pet owners, are very eager for that news as much as anyone else. So the moment we hear anything from the government about this, any policy to do with the safety of pets in China, in Shanghai rather, especially under the lockdown situation, we will let you know straight away. I just want to bring you guys back to this famous view we show every time. It is beautiful. A live view right now before we let you go from Puxi, aiming towards the Bund. That is live at 8:18 p.m. on Thursday, did you say 7th, Alex?
Yes, it is. It is the 7th. Again, I guess it's Thursday. I've sort of lost track of what day of the week it is. It's almost irrelevant at this point. But right. In any case, well, for me anyway, I know a lot of people, kids still going to school and people still maintain their daily work schedule. So I know a lot of folks do have to pay attention to what day of the week it is. But we're streaming every day, and so it doesn't really matter as much for us. In any case, this is a view of the Bund, normally a very, very popping, a very happening tourist area. Even during non-tourist season, it's usually a very, very popular area to go. But right now, devoid of foot traffic and vehicular traffic, as Shanghai is currently under a citywide lockdown because of COVID-19 complications.
Right, but I'm hoping, as we said before, that we will see numbers starting to come down shortly. We've got a visitor. This is my one of my cats.
Yep.
She's waiting for news. This is a cushion of her because I'm a typical cat lady now. But yeah, we are waiting for news. Any good news and also any bad news that we think we need to share with you guys. We will do so here every evening while Shanghai is still under lockdown. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we will see you again tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.